Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Tom Sherry. Whitney Ward and Mark Hanrahan are off this evening. Well, with the reopening of Washington State this week, landlords are now able to raise the rent in certain situations. It's all part of Washington's eviction bridge plan. Rent costs can be increased as early as September 1st, leaving some renters very worried. KREM 2's Joshua Robinson joins us now from the newsroom with a closer look. Joshua.
Yeah, Tom, with the end of Washington State's eviction moratorium on the horizon, we've heard from a lot of you saying you've been notified that your rent is going up, and in some cases going up well beyond your means. And Terry Anderson with the Tenants Union of Washington State says this change is not unexpected. Yesterday, July 1st, was the first day it was possible to notify tenants that their month-to-month rental rate could go up. And Anderson says it comes from a combination of factors, from the state of our local and statewide economies to the booming housing market.
We're seeing that all over Spokane. Entire buildings with 70 tenants in a building that come September are no longer going to be able to afford to pay the rent. And it's very serious.
But keep in mind, the Tenants Union confirms you cannot be charged for any late fees, and also your month-to-month rent can't go up before September 1st. And if you have any questions about your rights, there are some resources that can help you. For example, at the bottom of your screen right now, we've got the hotline number for the Tenants Union. They're asking you to call and share your situation with them. And then locally, you can also bring your concerns to the Spokane Low Income Housing Consortium. Anderson says the City of Spokane's website also offers help on rental assistance, and says you should also voice your concerns with City Hall itself. That is how she believes change can happen before that September 1st deadline. In the newsroom, Joshua Robinson, KREM 2 News.
Well, thousands of Avista customers experienced power outages during that dangerous heat wave this week. Avista says part of this result is because of Spokane's growth and its equipment struggling to keep up with demand. As part of our Boomtown coverage, we are tracking the impact of rapid growth here in the Inland Northwest. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley explains how this part of Spokane's infrastructure is struggling to keep up with the population growth.
During the heat wave this week, Avista reported about 24,000 customers in Spokane lost power. Avista says the outages are a protective measure intended to minimize broader impact. But they are also the result of growing populations in pockets of Spokane.
Growth plays a factor in outages, but we make sure that we're going to have enough capacity moving forward.
Mike Magruder oversees Avista's system operations and planning. He says North Spokane along Highway 395 and Eagle Ridge are areas where Avista is seeing the most growth in power usage. To be clear, this growth does not mean people in these areas are using more power. Avista says this means there are just more people using power.
And even in the areas where that are established, we still see and we trend the growth that we see there. So add that to the new growth of new people, new homes, new developments coming in onto our system. We're aware of that and we plan for that capacity, and we'll make the necessary upgrades to serve our customers.
Avista says it is working to keep up with the growth through power line upgrades, more equipment, and upgrading substations. They say this will create enough capacity for Avista to be reliable to its customers, new and current. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Avista says that there are no planned power outages for the second day in a row. This is their outage map, and as you can see, there's no activity right now. The alert at the top of the screen is letting customers know that there are no planned electrical outages today. When you click on it, you can see all the areas in green where Avista is monitoring. The first map is for the Spokane area, and the second map is for the Lewiston area. The Lewiston map was last updated on Wednesday, right around 5 o'clock in the evening. Well, thousands of people were without power on Monday when the blackouts began during the height of our historic heat wave. Those planned outages have slowed as the week has continued. The outages are a way for Avista to alleviate strain on the electrical system. Electric companies in our area are still asking customers to help conserve power during this heat wave. Well, it's hot, but not nearly as hot as it was earlier this week. We go outside now to the KREM 2 outdoor weather patio where we've got our own Thomas Patrick standing by. Thomas, let us know what we can expect for the holiday weekend.
Yeah, Tom. In fact, today has been the coldest day in the better part of a week. And I want to use the word colder because compared to 109, almost everything feels colder. Today, just low 90s across the area, still holding steady at 90 in Spokane, which is, yes, the coldest day we've experienced in the last 8 or 9 for the region. But July as a whole is still looking warmer than average. In fact, this time of year, our average is about 80 degrees, and you'll see in my 7-day coming up that every single day is still above average, just at least not as hot as it was earlier in the week. So for this holiday weekend, looking at mid-90s for both Saturday and Sunday, with Saturday being the hotter of the 2 days. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on the potential for some hazy conditions across the region because it's starting to get to that time of year where it's not just local wildfires, but regional large wildfires like those in British Columbia, maybe pouring some smoke closer towards the inland northwest. So coming up, I'm going to be tracking the winds and when that smoke is set to arrive, especially for portions of northern Washington. That's all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Thomas. Hard to believe that cooling down to the 90s, we would say cooling down, right? Well, Washington is now officially under a DNR statewide burn ban. Beginning today, outdoor burning, campfires, and charcoal barbecues are prohibited on DNR land. The ban is in effect through September 30th, but may be shortened depending on fire conditions. So far this year, there have been 564 fires on or that have threatened Washington DNR land. Of those fires, 427 have been right here in eastern Washington. Now remember, you could still use your charcoal barbecue at home, but make sure your coals are dead out before disposing of them. And a stark reminder of the dangers of wildfire season, smoke may return to Washington this weekend. Wildfires burning in British Columbia are emitting enough smoke that it will move into parts of Washington and Idaho as the winds shift this weekend. The smoke will cause hazy skies and reduce the air quality in some areas, especially north central Washington. The bulk of the heavy smoke is coming from fires burning near Vancouver, British Columbia. Those fires started at the height of the historic heat wave that has been moving through the Northwest for this past week. Well, this unprecedented heat is impacting everything from people to animals to food. Coming up after the break, how the heat is affecting our crops. That's next.